This hangout is on air live. I have no idea where Pete is. Pete, where are you? Where are you? All right, here we go. I am live. Hello, everyone. Where is Pete? Where is Pete? Where is Pete? So, good afternoon. We are going to look through several photographs this afternoon. Let's do a screen share and application window. Voila. I'm going to start sharing now. Here we go. And let me see what's showing up on YouTube. Okay, so this is showing up. Perfect. All right, so hopefully you are seeing, oh, there's Pete. Ah.
Well, sorry, this took a bit.
Yeah, we have to do something about the time and cut off and yada yada.
Yeah. No cutting off. I just simply didn't find the link. If you send me the link a bit earlier or more, sorry, yeah. But I'm here now.
All right, here we go. Share. Oh, come on. Tell me what your, well, application. All right, so first photograph. Pete.
So let me take a look at it first.
This is up your alley, by the way, because it is landscape.
It is landscape. I have to say, like usual, I see these photos now the first time. Fern had time to prepare.
No, actually, I'll be honest with you. I thought of that, and I thought I just saw them because I chose them, but I really didn't go into thinking about them at all. So yeah.
Yeah, good. No, I won't make a joke about you not thinking.
Yeah.
There's something I'm not so sure what this photo tells me. What is it that the photo tells me? And also I'm extremely distracted by the frame. This wavy line at the top. At the bottom it works because it's dark anyway, but this really distracts me because my eyes always wander up. Why is that? Why is there this yeah, these waves? But okay. Wow, what does that photo tell me? It shows a waterfall that is going through trees, but it is a lovely shot, but I don't really know what I see here other than water falling down between trees. I love what I really love are these various shades of green and the details of this very organic feel the leaves have and the different types of trees. There's a slight on the top left we have this slight hint of orange that really catches my eye. On the right side we have a very pale, very coolish green. So that is something that makes me really wander around the picture, and I really want to explore that, but I don't know what exactly it tells me. So what is it? I see that the most interesting part for me on that photo is the spot where the waterfall rushes down at the bottom. We have that foreground, the silhouette of the branches, and that's where the photo gets depth. But I don't know. I'm very ambivalent on my feelings, but I cannot really grip it.
Well, see, to me, I mean, I don't disagree with you about the border, and what makes it even more distracting is that it's just on the top, apparently. I mean, it could also be on the bottom, and like you said, it's dark. But the fact that the sides are very straight, traditional, frame lines, that is kind of distracting to me because I start wondering why. There's also, I don't disagree with you actually about the color divide, but that's part of the problem with this. And I've said this before, I'm fascinated by images that divide the composition down the middle, and this is one of those. And I do like, I will say, the lots of textures and the chaotic leaves and so on. And then there's these fascinating straight vertical lines in several areas in the photo. But what happens is that this photo is literally, to me, two images almost that this waterfall divides, precisely because of what you said. On the left, there's the yellower, more orange tones that are warmer. And on the right, there's the cooler green to blue colors. There's also the fact that actually those vertical lines are more pronounced, and there's more of them on the left than on the right. So I keep looking at it, and yes, I agree with you. I keep exploring and so on, but it's not so much to enjoy, but to figure out what you said. What am I looking at? The depth, I totally agree. But to me, this is two images. This is two images that they're almost, to me, perhaps, and maybe I'll go on a limb here, but it almost in a way feels like this could have been, that waterfall could have been manipulated and created in Photoshop, which there's nothing wrong with, I will say, but that's almost the feeling now that I really start looking at this and thinking about this, that this gives me, is that I'm seeing two separate images that may not have even, actually, now that I think about it, been in that same location, divided by any waterfall or anything. It's just this, it's almost like a diptych kind of thing, with that waterfall dividing the two. Yeah.
But that is yeah, I think that's it. When we look at it, it's not there. Well, it's one picture, but it's actually two sides, like you said.
Yeah.
But the sides are not different enough to make it really as a viewer, I ask myself, why do I have to watch two pictures?
Yes.
Why not one? One thing that comes to my mind is why did the photographer choose to use landscape orientation for that?
Oh, that's interesting.
When I want to, this is just my view, of course. So this would be really a question that I would want to ask the photographer, because how many waterfalls did I shoot so far? One, I guess, or two, I don't know. So for me, when you stand in front of a waterfall, there's this, you have an impression, you feel something, and that is probably, in my case, that was the case. So I want to show that. I want to capture that, what I feel in that moment, this power of rushing water, the height, the water crashes down. So the landscape orientation makes the whole sensation much smaller for me. So it's something which can be, of course, can be also exciting. So if that is what they wanted to show, saying, okay, go the exact opposite way. But but I still struggle with, because my eyes jump around in that picture, and I look to the left, and I look to the right, to the darker part, and then I look at the upper left corner, and then I jump, my eyes jumps down to the lower right corner, and I see things that interest me, and I want to look at them more closely, like the silhouette foreground with the leaves and the branches. But I get distracted a lot. Then I have these interesting. If you look at the upper left corner, these the tree trunks, the very warm trunks. It's also a very interesting part of the picture. I want to look closer, but then I get distracted from on the right side again. So I don't know what I want to see, which can be, of course, interesting, but my eyes don't find a way to rest. Only that white dividing line in the middle, which has almost no texture, no structure in it. So it's like you said, it divides the photo into two parts, which are taken for themselves. Not really, they don't really tell something, and the picture as a whole is. Yeah, I don't know what I want to see, and I want to see a lot, but I get distracted too much. There's too much information for me in that photo, so I think simplifying that photo with maybe a different crop, maybe choosing one side and working a bit on how to guide the viewer through that picture. To there like you said, there are amazing horizontal lines. You have on the right side these two trees. We have the movement from the left, from the upper left corner to the middle of the photo, that bright movement with the leaves. So there are a lot of things in that, and so the picture kind of floods me with information. I'm exhausted by looking at it.
Okay, so to ease your exhaustion, next image. All right, here we go. Aha. I really, 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 really like this photograph. Almost abstract. And now looking at it even more, I like the depth of field. I love the colors. I love the simplicity of the repetition of the horizontal lines. Yeah, this is almost, again, there's complexity in it when you start looking at the specks of dust and the little particles and the texture of the leaf itself, and even the outline, especially on the right side, the tip, that little piece of leaf there's a slight fuzz on it, on the edge, that's fascinating to me, I have to say, because it leads me to the little particles of whatever it is and the little texture to the right, which then makes me, and this has what, granted, this is a much simpler image and subject, but this has what the other image lacked, which is a visual flow and cohesive flow that kept me going from one part in the other without getting overwhelmed, which is what you were talking about. Plus, I love, by the way, that one last thing. I've said this before, big fan of complementary colors, and I like the play of the bluishness, the tension between the bluishness on the top and the bluishness that is also actually in the bottom, and then the opposite complementary orange tones that are so rich and lush and keep me looking.
Yeah, I have nothing to add, actually. Totally love that photo. I mean, I know it's almost a cliche to say that, but that is one of those photos that I wish I had made, because terrific photo. And I don't. I have to also admit, I was looking at the photo and hardly. I don't think. I'm sure I missed a lot of what you said, but
again,
you can, of course. What fascinates me with that, other than additionally to what you elaborated on. Perfectly, by the way. I wish I were so eloquent as you are. Is the smooth, almost mirror-like surface that leaf is lying on, and the millions and millions and millions of details. So we have a very smooth surface. I presume it's a desk or very polished desk or mirror, actually mirror or something. And then the dust specks, as you said, that is also a contrast that I think is fascinating, because I see a lot of these pictures, or I saw a lot of these pictures, especially in fall. Everyone was running out and taking shallow depth of field pictures of leaves lying on the ground, and we have all these organic things in the picture. But this is so reduced, and still so much to explore in that photo. And we have on the rim, in the, well, it's actually, if you divide the picture, the leaf to left and right, we have, there's so much detail and so much subtle, but colors, differences in colors. It's an almost monochrome picture, but still so many different shades. We have a red on the right side. We have greens, also, like you said, color contrast. Red and green is in there.
Yes.
We have blue on the top and orange in the middle. Beautiful, beautiful picture. Definitely.
Yep. And I do like, I will add that this is, in a sense, the cliche, but elevated, I have to say, and reworked. Yes. Because it isn't even really, when you look at it, it isn't even really a pretty, perfect leaf kind of thing. It's something that you really would have to see, and maybe not even watching out for, because let's face it, sometimes it's the accidents that are absolutely treasure chests. But that's this photograph. All right, then, next image. We're doing good. Hit it, Pete.
Wow, I'm stunned. Beautiful, beautiful minimal. It is so reduced to, and still there's everything in there. We have that hint of color in the middle, the slight green of the land. We have the plain area in the sky, and the contrast to the waves with lots of detailed texture in that, slightly darker than the top. The only thing we really own, and of course that line in the middle that has this slight distortion in it, that makes, for me, that is what makes that picture. That's where the only thing, and I'm not sure about that, I probably had to see that. I'm not so sure about the horizon line. It's no, but it is. I mean, I was either put it completely in the middle or lower it a bit more. But no. It's, oh, I like that. Yes. There's even, if you look at the lower right corner, the direction of the waves, they lead up to that little, yes. How can I call that? The little curve, yes, in the land. Yes. So everything, even the lines, even the leaning lines are reduced in that picture, but they're still there. That photo is definitely what you don't see makes that shot. Yes. Great photo. Yes, and what there's also, of course, the color, very subtle complementary color play: green and blue, green and reds, slight pink, blue and orange. There's also, the other thing I really like is that this photograph, in a way, is from the left to the right, a light to dark gradient, very subtle. Yes. But that's, yes, and I do agree with you also about the horizon line. Part of me keeps thinking a little higher, a little lower, but part of me keeps thinking, fuck no, this is absolutely perfect. And then there's also, I have to say, that you were right about the repetition
of the angle of the waves and the direction that they're going in, sort of following that arrow that, or that point that digs into the green. But then there's also, so that shape and that direction is mirrored at the bottom. But then when you look from the horizon line on the green up, there is a repetition of the horizontal lines as well. So there's and this is the genius of this photograph, is that it does divide the photo into two images, but because of the colors and the subtlety and the directions of lines, it all keeps you looking, because it also takes you back into that center that little jagged, pointing thing that just keeps you going, connecting the two. This works on many levels. So yeah, that's all I have to say.
What I really think is fascinating, that photo really absolutely fascinates me. It's I wanted to say it's like the perfect example for empty space.
Yes.
But it's not, because we have the structure, we have the texture of the waves in there, and the empty space, of course, on top. But there's also still, you think, we have this slight. Of course, it is empty space, and it's also a perfect example for empty space. But you look closer and you see, oh wow, this in the sky we have structure.
Mm-hmm.
We have these also repeating patterns in the sky with the clouds, and amazing photo.
Yeah, and again, a cliche, but absolutely just done brilliantly. So yes, next photograph. We're doing good. All right, hit it.
I'm not sure about. I'm looking at. Okay, is it cropped on top, or is it yeah, it is cropped. I like the idea. I like the idea of that photo a lot, and it just the composition doesn't work for me. It seems to be squeezed in that extreme wide angle-ish shot. The birds on top, for my feeling, they need a bit more air to breathe. I love that. Or maybe you could crop it a bit tighter on the right, and a bit on the bottom. I totally love the contrast between the black, I presume they're cormorants, and the flamingo on the bottom. So that is the crowd of or the flock of birds on top sitting, and compared to the loner who's strolling around. It's almost funny.
Who doesn't care? I mean, it's totally indifferent, actually. I do, yeah. There's a sense of humor to, yes.
Absolutely. And I mean, there couldn't be any more perfect bird than this flamingo with the curved neck, you know.
Yes. And actually, by the way, that curved neck, one of the things that and I hate to interrupt you. Well, no, I don't. But if you notice, there's that vertical line that the bird's head and neck cut right there. So that in itself is a really interesting area right there, and all of the lines and everything eventually lead you to the bird, and then the bird sort of leads you back. Yeah. So go ahead. Sorry.
That is the photo, and I won't. I think I'll skip all of the composition parts of that, because there'd be a lot to say, and I think you can do that much better than I do. But this is a photo that, for me, this evokes a million stories. Like what you said, the line that crosses the curved neck, and then I see a flamingo who kind of it has some sort of a posh feeling, and the curved neck with the line behind, instantly thought about a dollar sign.
Yep.
And you see the black birds in slightly in the back, so kind of faceless, no individuality. I just talk into the blue. What the images that come to my mind, compared to, or in opposition to that colorful bird who is alone.
Yes.
Which it could become an epic photo.
Yes.
If it weren't for the slightly off composition.
Yes, and so here's the things that distract the bejesus out of me. And I'm going to start from the top. There's to the left. There's some very teeny tiny, and I don't know if y'all can see it. I'm looking at it at a large screen. There's some teeny tiny little white dots, and then there's one on the right hand side and one close to the middle that could have been just photoshopped. What's that? Where you just do the
clone stamp tool.
The clone stamp tool. Just gotten rid of that.
Don't even need that. Just crop it a bit tighter.
Or just crop it a bit tighter. There's also, I have to say, there's this horizontal line. There's these lovely reflections that are darker that take your eye down, and then there's this horizontal, lighter, whiter reflection that kind of takes away, because it sort of starts forming like a frame around the top, and so it detracts from all of the vertical lines. That horizontal line, it's distracting, because it distracts me from the very marked and almost only horizontal line where the birds are. There's also on the right-hand side, this little, on the upper right corner, this little pink blob thing that just bugs me. What I would have done, I do agree with you, with the cropping, I would crop this, or maybe do some Photoshop, but just take that distracting stuff on the top and cut, just crop a little lower. I would also crop on the left and on the right, so that the two birds on either side are either just barely in the photo or half, you know what I mean, half on, half off on the image. Sometimes having everything in the image isn't really all that interesting, because these two birds are sort of out there. So that crop, so the left and the right, to tighten it on both sides, so that it's really about the birds on the that are perched in the top, and that one lone bird. I think that would make it. And I would argue, I kind of disagree with you. I wouldn't have as much room on the top. I think it would have been lovely, but it may not have been the way the photo was taken, to have a little bit more room on the bottom. Because I like the top heavy. I mean, this is a top heavy image. But yeah, but aside from that, I like looking at this, I have to say. I think I agree with you. It's an epic picture. Yeah,
that was the first impression. When I said I would love to have a bit more headspace, but looking at it more, I think you have to, of course not, you don't have to. It's just it's what I see is, if you really crop that picture very tight, don't have this extreme widescreen picture, because it's also we are used to certain aspect ratios, and this is something almost looks like the classic 235 to 10 or something, 2:1, but as I see, the photo doesn't benefit from that. The opposite. Crop it tightly. And I'm also not a fan of the clone stamp tool or something, but the birds in the water, I would probably even I would probably clone them out, so that you really have this diversion between the birds on top and the lone bird in the water, which can... And tight crop. And also something that distracts me is we have, but that is because the picture is on a black background. If it were on a brighter background, a white background or something, probably wouldn't even realize that we have this slight bright line on top, and then it gets a bit darker.
Mhm.
So I would really try to crop that very tightly, crop that out, crop the bottom out, so have really that cage.
Mhm. Yes. That the bird is outside, that flamingo is outside
Yes.
the cage. Yes, totally. Yes. I mean, yes. I also, one last thing, and then we're going to move on. I really also have to say, and again, one of my favorite things, the fact that there's very light touches of green blue actually work here. I like the way the color has been manipulated, and yeah, just I really like this photograph. I think it's a treasure of possibilities. All right, anything else?
No.
All right, next. We're doing good. We might actually go under 45 minutes. Hit me. Well, yeah, you go ahead.
Cool. That took a bit.
Yes.
It took a bit, and I instantly. I mean, my eye was instantly caught, and I just thought, cool. What is that? I want to know what that is. And then, okay, you start to explore the picture, and your favorite bit, of course, complementary colors: the blue in the sky, and then the umbrella. To the whatever that is, piece of cloth, and also the grass on the bottom. All the lines that suck you in the photo. I don't know the English word for the thingies in the umbrella. You know what I mean?
Thingies in the umbrella, yes.
Yeah, the lines in the umbrella, the thingies in the umbrella. We could write a song about it. Thingies in the umbrella. Mosquitoes usually in summer. And they suck you in, and it doesn't matter what that is, if it's piece of cloth.
Oh no, it's obviously. I mean, it's obviously a summer garment of some kind. What it is, you're right. I have no idea, and I don't really care. I mean, I thought it was a T-shirt, but I don't really care.
I don't really care, and I think that is the great thing about the photo. It doesn't fucking matter what it is. It is a fascinating photo to look at. It's extremely abstract, even though it's perfectly clear what we see. We see cloth, no matter what kind of cloth. We see the umbrella, we see grass, we see trees, we see the sky, we see ropes, but it doesn't matter what it is. It is so. It dissolves and then puzzles together again, and that is like when you think about the first photo with the waterfall, we also have a lot of details detail in that photo, but it is structured. We have that piece of cloth almost in the middle, but all the lines lead to that. We have that brighter part of the umbrella. All the lines lead to that.
Yeah, and the overexposure, by the way, of that background of the umbrella is brilliant, because it makes the top of that piece of material, that orange, it makes it absolutely, it's as dark as on the bottom. I mean, yes. So go ahead. Sorry.
Don't be sorry. Perfect. And I envy people who see things like that. I don't see stuff like that. I walk around, look for my trees or whatever, and I don't see that. And I see photos like that on my dashboard, and I'm just in awe, because that is it's an amazing photo.
Yes. I do want to add one thing that I absolutely love about this image, and that is what kind of bugs me is the blue in the sky on the lower left is a blue that almost doesn't fit. Yet what winds up happening in this photo, and it's almost a perfect right to left, up to down balance, is if you look in the upper right-hand corner, there's this little blue flower on the piece of material
right.
there that has almost exactly the same blue tone, and then even the pattern on that material itself, it's bluish enough in that darker, duller gray blue kind of color that literally balances this out. So in a sense, that whole playfulness of my eyes going back and forth, but because they're going back and forth, having to go through this orange thing and the lines. I mean, it's just yes, just I have nothing else to add.
Right, but if you look at the lower part of the umbrella, that dark blue is always apparent.
Yes.
It's the so I don't, it doesn't distract me, you know. And on my screen, I have this on the left side, on the lower left side. It shifts, but it can be that I have to calibrate my monitor again. It shifts slightly into purple.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Which adds, it's purple, and which makes the color contrast between the piece of cloth in the middle even stronger.
Yeah.
And we have that almost the same purplish tone on the lower right corner,
as well,
in the grass, and in the on the upper right corner, or in the upper right corner, on that other piece of cloth, whatever that is.
Yes.
So great shot.
Yes.
Applause.
Yes. Yes. Totally. All righty. Next. I love this photograph. I love. There's a lot of nudes. They usually tend to be very similar, but again, it's a cliche. You know, it's a female nude. It's a cliche. But this photograph, there's a sense of restfulness, yet there's also the very awkward. This is not a posture you would be in if you were taking a nap. So it's obviously about manipulating, the photographer manipulating the body and capturing it in this position. But it's still such a classic position. The colors, the warm colors, the fact that you do not see her face, the fact that really it's about the lines and the texture. This is not sexualizing or beautifying her in any way. It's almost because again, she's not shaved. I mean, these are the details that I will say I look at when I look at these photographs. Yeah, this is a woman who's very, I mean, a very natural, quote unquote, woman she seems to be. Yet there's also that lovely traditionalness of the colors of the it's almost painterly to me. And then the rug and the repetition of the curves and the colors and those deep colors, which just, I mean, it's the playfulness, and you know, her buttocks and that curve, and then that one upper cheek, and then that slight other cheek, and then when you look at the curve that's under her back, so it forms that same repetition. So it's almost like the scalloping three curves that take you up and around, and there's all these curved lines, and then there's the other brighter colored curves under her butt. I mean, it's gorgeous. I mean, the positioning, the rug, everything, absolutely gorgeous, because it's about the repetition of shapes and of curves. It's a very, yeah, I have nothing else to say.
And you said everything. and I mean it in the most positive way. I don't think that I can add anything. It's but what I find fascinating about that, other than what you said, and the lighting of that, it has, like you said, it has something very painterly. It's I presume natural light, and perfectly. I mean, we have still detail everywhere, even though it is very dark in parts. If you look at the hair, there's we see structure. We see you can spend a lot of time on every bit of that photo and explore it and find things to look at. And I think for me, when I look at artistic nude photography, the real fascinating thing is, or happens, if the photographer and the model, of course, because it's always a combination of those. There's nothing. You can't do that alone with no kind of portrait photography. If they find the balance of, I look at that photo and the first thing I see is not a nude photograph. What I see is a portrait. So the second thought is, oh, it's a nude. It's not the first thing that springs to mind, not with me. So that is because of the tension between it is so natural, and what you said, the posture is still different, and I try to figure it out how to do that, how to be able to lie there and like that. It's
not comfortable.
Not comfortable. No, surely not. So it's a study of the human body, and
well, you know what, I think it goes, and that's what's really lovely about, and that's what I do look for off, well, depending. I mean, if it's a photo of someone sitting down, sometimes it's what it evokes about the person. This is about not even the human body. This is about shape, light, color, the soothing repetition of curves. I mean, it's just even her nipple. It's just perfect. The roundness, and then the other roundness of her ribs and the legs. The curves in her hair. Again, on and on and on. It winds up being about the repetition of the lines and curves and in the color. I mean, it's a beautifully soothing yet inviting. Yeah. Anything else?
How can I put that? If you look at the skin, and that is also, of course, that adds to the naturalness of that photo. There's no, at least no visible retouching done, which is something for me. I'm not a portrait photographer, not at all, and I did a couple of portrait shootings and blah blah stuff, but I would never dare to call myself a portrait photographer.
You should, by the way, you on your side blog, you should, because some of the stuff you've posted on your side blog that's photographs of humans, very good.
Thank you.
I have to say. But anyway, go ahead.
Now I'm blushing. Thank God I'm not.
Live with it.
Rare thing. I'll put it in my calendar. Actually, one of the things one of the first things that I look at when I look at any kind of portrait is signs of retouching, because I hate that. Of course, if you're, I'm absolutely aware. If you're a professional photographer and your client wants stuff, then you have to do that. But I hate manipulation of the human body or face in a way that to iron things out. Sometimes you have to, because the transformation from a three-dimensional. Thank you. Ooh, it's late. Three-dimensional, and I say, no, let's say subject, like a human being, into a two-dimensional medium, like a photograph. Things get lost. You don't see. Things will change. So sometimes you have to do some stuff. Because you can transform one medium into another medium without loss or without things.
Without change, because it doesn't have to be lost. Yeah.
And so sometimes, loss is the wrong word. Without change. And sometimes the change that happens through that transformation is distracting. And so sometimes, yes, you have to do a bit, or portrait photography. Sometimes you have to iron out flaws, but not flaws in a human being. But most of the time, at least in the few portraits that I did, it was more like flaws in makeup. So, okay, things like that. And so this is so, I'm totally in love with that, because you see structure, you see the skin, you see the different color in the skin, you see blotches, you see that is real. You see moles, is that the word?
Yes.
And they even, if you look at them, the one mole on am I allowed to say butt? Hip,
yes.
Let's say on the hip, the one at the chest, and then we have the slight moles on the arm. They even create kind of a line. Or they also drive your view into the photo. So that mole on the chest is the center of the photo. It's also, of course, the brightest part of the photo. So I totally adore that photo. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful.
And I want to add one more thing, and then we're going to move to the last one, unless you want to add something after I say this. But the great thing about that mole and her nipple is that there's the veins that you can see. So there's enough blue, and again, enough complementary color play in here, right where it matters, which is at this, as you pointed out, at the center, at the brightest area, which is also where her hairs and her armpit are. There's this whole thing going on, but yet you keep playing and going outside. Anything else?
No.
Okay. Last photo. We're going to do 7 today, and we're at 47 minutes. Hit it.
Wow. Not my. I love that photo. I won't say not my cup of. I will not say not my cup of tea. I love that photo, and I even think I have an idea who made that. The others so far, I'm not. I have no idea, but I think I know who made that from scrolling down my dash. But not that I know that particular photo, but the style. I'm pretty sure. It doesn't matter. This is a type of photography I adore. I adore to watch and look at, and I adore to really explore and to dive deeper. But it is a book with 7 seals for me. I don't see these things. I don't see these things. There are people walking around, obviously, with their camera, and I see something and I make photos like that. And I'm at the same place, and I don't see that. So architectural photography, which this is, also abstract photography, is also it's this merge of architectural photography with the very clear lines, the very, very clear composition, the slightly angled line. So for me, this photo, and I hope I'm allowed to say that it is a total mindfuck, because architectural photography.
Ew!
Did I create pictures in your mind? No, it's the clarity, the clear structure of because I know it's an architectural shot, because I know it has to be. And on the other hand, it is so abstract that I'm just fascinating photo, perfect composition, also with the slightly angled lines that help us help our view to go up. We have the crossing of the yeah, I'm lost for words because that is really not up my alley in terms of that I don't have the right.
Okay, so
Let you
I
talk.
yeah,
I
because this is
think.
the kind of photography I do often. And you're absolutely right. And I actually have talked to um, my colleague where here at work, um, where he is our staff photographer, and he does a lot of photography for the university and yada yada. And he was the one who pointed out to me a long time ago. I showed him one of my photos like this, and he said, "This isn't architecture photography. This is something else. Architecture photography is very much, here is the building. This is what it looks like. This person, which is what I do, which is what you're talking about, sees lines, things, shadows, and goes to town and presents them in an abstract way. So I've started to think of it as architectural abstract, which is exactly what you called it, which made me very happy because at least I'm not completely wrong in thinking of it this way. I love the color play of the blue, green, red, orange oppositions of the placing, the almost perfect rule of thirds placing of this. By the way, everything you said. I I would be very proud to say I took this photograph. Um,
Me too.
yeah, yeah. Well, no, but I say that as someone who
Yes.
takes these kinds of photographs a lot. Um, so I am in awe of what this person saw captured and then presented. I have nothing else to say, really.
It's what you said with the almost perfect rule of third composition thing.
Yeah.
That is actually a photo where the rule of thirds works in terms of it's not deadly boring, because rule of
No.
thirds
Yeah.
is always like, yeah, see,
And here's what's really interesting to me about this one, that the point of most interest is actually in the left middle third,
yes,
where the two parts are together and it's darker, and there's this one little square where there's almost like a face, and then
yes,
there's
yes.
all the, you know what I mean? That area is where you keep going back to, but yet what is fascinating to me about this is that and again, this is the kind of thing I do and the kind of thing I think about when I'm choosing photographs, by the way, which is what we talked about in our previous session, that the empty space winds up being just as fascinating with just those empty frames of white and the frame, as that most vivid, exciting section and everything else. So yes, you have something that's darker and has the higher contrast in that one middle left third, but really the whole photograph is just a joy. It's
Yes.
it's playful. Yeah. I wish I would, I'm not going to say I wish I had taken this photograph. I mean, I do, but I would be very proud to show this photograph as mine because of because it is the kind of work I do. Yeah, lovely, 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 lovely. Anything else?
I'm just fascinated by the mass and mass and mass of detail in that
And
shot,
the
which is
lightness of
not
it.
distracting at all, but adds up to the whole.
Yes.
It's kind of a fractal.
Yes.
You know what I
Yes.
mean? You have that clear picture, clear structure, clear, and you look closer and say, okay, there's more detail in that, and you
Yeah.
look closer and there's more detail in that, and you can, it seems like you can dive into that photo endlessly and
Yes.
find
Yes.
more and more and more and more and more.
Yes, yes, no, totally, totally, and I will, yeah, I mean, because I could, yeah, keep discussing this. I'm done. I'm done. Anything else?
No.
We're done, ladies and gentlemen.
The muted colors also. We have also,
Yes.
again, and I just see it now,
Yes.
because I was fascinated with all the details. We have a slight orangish, bluish, greenish color contrast on the left side. There's the slight orange, then it shifts into a bluish green.
Yes.
And then we have that blue in on the right, middle right. There's light blue stripes in it. So much to discover. Amazing.
Yes. So yes, I have nothing else to add. All right, so let's do this and stop sharing. And let me show Pete. So there's Pete. I don't think I showed you today at all. So for the people who complained for our first critique that there was too much of you, now there was almost none of you. And they are happy.
Yes. Me too.
All righty. So anything else?
Say something? I want to show something. We're still on, aren't we?
Yes.
No, I want to say, because I was extremely nervous today because I almost didn't have any sleep tonight, and I was at work for 7 hours, and I was grocery shopping, and I was making dinner, and so I was totally nervous. And so I have something with me here, and I want to show that. And this is Spike. And Spike lives on my desk because I adopted him for a time, and well, he will find his home soon. But so far, Spike is with me, and he's happy. Not as happy as he will be next year, in October. Just saying.
Okay, I have no idea what that means, but sure. So thank you very much. By the way, I want to add that we do really enjoy this, but we've said this before, I think more in the other sessions. We get really nervous. We freak out because this is so much fun for us, but it's also in a lot of ways important for us because we learn, hopefully you learn something and you get to also laugh at us. I mean, laugh with us. But yeah, I love doing this, and I'm kind of similar to Pete. I've slept very little, except I was out playing last night. I was playing bingo, lost $50, but had a blast, and went to bed at 4 o'clock in the morning.
Are you that old, Fern, that you're playing bingo? Are you really that old that you're playing bingo?
You know. Anyway. So yeah, but it's
no answer is also an answer.
Yeah, no answer. Anyway, thank you so very much. Thank you for putting up with us. Thank you for staying on with us. Thank you for submitting photographs to this. Yeah, Pete, do you want the last words?
No, I had the last words in the other video, so I'll gladly give you the last words. Thank you all for watching, and it's always a pleasure for us. And yes, music.